What if a 2,500-year-old Buddhist text held the ultimate why for self-improvement, and a modern, science-backed bestseller held the perfect how? Well, today we're smashing those two together. We're fusing the ancient wisdom of the Diamond Sutra with the practical power of atomic habits. It sounds like a paradox, right? Let's get into it.
So think about it like this. On one hand, you've got this incredibly profound philosophy that's guided people for millennia. And on the other, you have a data-driven framework for making tiny changes in our daily lives. At first glance, trying to combine them feels like trying to mix oil and water. It's like a map telling you to head north and stay put at the exact same time.
And you can see the conflict right here. The Diamond Sutra's core message is all about dismantling, letting go of our attachments to find true freedom. But then you have James Clear's Atomic Habits, which is all about construction, meticulously building systems, reinforcing your identity. So one's about breaking down, the other is all about building up. So how on earth can these two completely opposite ideas work together? Is it even possible to systematically build a life that's ultimately about letting go of everything? That's the big question we're tackling today.
Okay, first things first. We need to understand the destination. What's the end game of the Diamond Sutra? It's not really about becoming a better person in the way we usually think about it. Nope. It's about achieving this radical kind of freedom by seeing reality for what it truly is. But what does that even mean?
The whole thing is built on this concept called emptiness. Now, and this is important, it doesn't mean that nothing exists. Not at all. A really great way to think about it today is like a hyper-realistic VR simulation. The world you see feels totally real, you can interact with it, it's vivid, but it doesn't have any solid independent substance of its own. It's all just code, or in Buddhist terms, a collection of causes and conditions.
So the key takeaway here is that this isn't about becoming some detached, apathetic nihilist. It's actually a super practical tool. When you start to see things as they are, impermanent, interconnected, you can start to debug your own mind. You can break free from the little cognitive glitches that cause all our stress, our anxiety, and our suffering.
And the sutra points out four main bugs that are kind of always running in the background of our mental software. First, there's the mark of self. You know, that little voice that's always asking, but what about me? Then there's the mark of person, which is the root of our us versus them thinking. Next up, the mark of beings. That's our brain's tendency to just slap fixed labels on everything to save time. And finally, the mark of lifespan, our constant obsession with the past and the future. These are the attachments we're trying to debug. Okay, so that's the what and the why. The destination is freedom from these cognitive bugs. But how do we actually get there? Well, that's where the science of atomic habits comes charging in.
James Clear breaks down any habit you have into this simple four-step loop that basically runs our lives on autopilot. Just think about your morning coffee. The cue, waking up. The craving, that I need a boost feeling. The response, you make the coffee. And the reward, that first amazing energizing sip. Our entire day is just a chain of these little loops.
And this is where Clear's whole approach gets really, really powerful. He reframes this loop not just as a way to get stuff done, but as a way to literally shape your identity. See, our brains are always looking for evidence of who we think we are. So every single time you do a small action, you're basically casting a vote for the person you want to become. This idea also explains that super frustrating feeling we've all had, what Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. You know what I'm talking about. It's that phase where you're putting in the work, you're casting those votes every day, but you're just not seeing any results. But the progress is happening. It's just building up under the surface until one day, bam, you hit that breakthrough. All right, so now we have our two big puzzle pieces, the sutra's profound goal and the habit's super practical method. Now let's see how they click together to form one single powerful system. Think of it like a GPS finally meeting its engine. And the key that unlocks this entire synthesis, it actually comes from the Buddha himself. He gave his students this incredible metaphor. He said his teaching is like a raft. It's a tool you build, you use it to get across a dangerous river to the other shore. But, and this is the most important part, once you get there, you don't strap the raft to your back and carry it around. You leave it behind. So this raft idea gives us a super clear three-step playbook. Step 1, you build the raft. You use the principles from Atomic Habits to construct a system of small, mindful actions. Step 2, you cross the river. You execute those habits every day to navigate life. But the crucial final step is leaving the raft behind. Once you reach that shore of freedom, you let go of the very system that got you there. And there it is, the core of the whole Vajra-Atomic System, the Diamond Sutra. That's your GPS. It sets the destination: freedom, emptiness, letting go. It makes sure you're pointed in the right direction. And atomic habits? That's your engine. It's the practical, reliable machine that powers your raft and actually gets you across the water. One tells you where to go, the other gets you there. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like day to day? Let's get really practical and talk about the first tiny steps you can take to put this whole system into action.
So how do you start? One of the best techniques is called habit stacking. You just link a new, tiny, mindful habit to something you already do. So for example, after you brush your teeth, your new habit is to just focus on that sensation for 1 minute. Or when you stop at a red light, use that as a cue to take one deep breath. You see, you're just weaving these tiny moments of awareness into your existing routine.
And to make this almost ridiculously easy, you use the 2-minute rule. Whatever new habit you want to start, just shrink it down until it takes less than 2 minutes. You don't need to commit to meditating for an hour a day. Just meditate for 1 minute. The goal here isn't perfection. It's just to master the art of showing up. And you know what's wild? This idea of starting small has incredibly deep roots. The Diamond Sutra itself says that the value of deeply understanding just one single 4-line verse is immeasurable. It's not about the quantity of what you do. It's about the quality and consistency of your attention, even on the smallest possible scale. And this brings us to the final, and honestly, the most mind-bending part of the whole system. We've built the raft, we're crossing the river, but what does it really mean to leave the raft behind? It means the final goal is to have no goal at all. Because here's the last little twist. The very system you build to set yourself free can become a brand new cage. You can get attached to your perfect morning routine, your meditation streak. Your identity as a disciplined person can become just another label, another version of the ego you were trying to let go of in the first place. The true end game is to move from that deliberate, conscious practice into a state of effortless action. It's the point where mindfulness is no longer something you do, it's just who you are. It becomes as automatic and as natural as breathing. You just don't need the systems and reminders anymore. So here's maybe the most radical idea of all. This whole system, it's designed to self-destruct. You are building a scaffold with the full intention of one day kicking it away. Its ultimate success isn't measured by how well you stick to it, but by the moment you realize you don't need it anymore. And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. James Clear tells us that our habits build the person we become. The Diamond Sutra tells us that ultimate freedom is letting go of that person entirely. So what happens at the exact point where those two ideas meet? What happens when the person you've worked so hard to build is finally ready to be let go?